Olivia always sensed when a day was about to shift the ground beneath her feet. She felt it the moment she stepped into Maple Ridge Spa. The early morning air still cool from a night rain. The lobby lights soft and golden, as if trying to calm her nerves before they even woke up. She had worked there long enough to recognize signs, the receptionist whispering instead of speaking normally, clients arriving with strange requests, supervisors acting unpredictable. But today felt different in a way she couldn't name. It began when Jenna, the receptionist, looked at her with wide eyes, holding the printed schedule like it was a secret letter. "You got 2 VIP clients," Jenna said, "and they both requested you back to back, actually, no together. Same suite, same time." Olivia blinked, confused. VIP clients almost never shared space unless they came as a pair, and even then, they usually wanted separate therapists. She tried to laugh it off, but something in her chest tightened. "Are they some kind of business partners?" she asked. Jenna shrugged nervously. "No clue. Their profiles are private, but the manager approved it, so good luck." Olivia nodded, though her stomach felt uneasy. She liked her job. She liked giving calm to people who carried too much stress in their bodies. But today, something felt like a setup without anyone meaning it to be one. She walked to the VIP hallway, the soft jazz music echoing lightly against the walls. The suite door was partly open. Before she stepped inside, she adjusted her uniform, tried to steady her breath, and reminded herself she had handled far stranger clients. Nothing could surprise her now, except something did. Because when the door opened fully and she saw the 2 men waiting inside, her heart nearly stopped. Logan Whitfield stood first. He was tall, with calm blue eyes that always seemed to read a room before he stepped into it. She had seen him only twice before, brief sessions, quiet conversations, polite smiles that somehow lingered too long in her thoughts afterwards. He wasn't flashy or dramatic. He simply had a way of making her feel seen, safe, grounded in a way she didn't fully understand. He smiled at her now, warm and familiar, and she felt her pulse jump. "Olivia," he said gently, "good to see you again." But the man standing next to him caused her breath to catch in her throat. Daniel Carter, her mother's new fiancé. A man she had only met once at a tense dinner 2 months ago, when her mother suddenly announced she was getting remarried. Olivia tried to be polite, tried to support her mother, but everything about the engagement felt rushed. Like they had skipped the middle chapters of a story just to get to the ending. She never expected to see Daniel here in the spa, standing beside a man she admired quietly from afar. Daniel looked just as surprised. His eyes widened, his face softening with a mixture of shock and awkward guilt. "Olivia," he said, I had no idea you worked here, or that you'd be assigned to us." Olivia felt heat rise through her chest. She tried to keep her voice steady. "I didn't know you were scheduled today either." Logan looked between them, sensing the tension instantly. He stepped slightly forward, speaking in a calm tone meant to ease the moment. "I didn't know you 2 knew each other," he said lightly. "Is everything all right?" Daniel cleared his throat, trying to compose himself. "She's my fiancé's daughter." He said it gently, but the words still hit Olivia like a quiet echo she wasn't prepared for. Logan's brows lifted with slow understanding. "Ah, that explains the surprise." Olivia tried to find her footing. "Did you request me?" she asked Daniel softly. "Or was this some kind of mix-up?" Daniel shook his head quickly. "I didn't request you by name. Your mother told me you were one of the best therapists here, and when the receptionist asked if I had a preference, I said your first name without thinking it would be you." He looked embarrassed, almost apologetic. "I didn't mean to make things uncomfortable." Logan stepped forward, lifting the tension gently. "I requested you," he said with a warm, honest smile, "because you helped last time, and because, well, I trust you." The simplicity of his words made her heart thump harder than she wanted it to. She didn't need clients trusting her personally. She just needed them to feel calm. But Logan's trust felt different, like something personal without crossing a line. Something she didn't want to acknowledge too openly. She swallowed. I can call someone else, she offered. This is unusual, and I don't want anyone feeling uncomfortable. To her surprise, both men shook their heads immediately. Logan spoke first. No, I'd like to stay. If you're comfortable, that is. He looked at her with genuine respect, as if her comfort mattered more than anything else in the room. Then Daniel spoke, his voice softer, honest in a way that disarmed her. I'd like to stay too. I want to know the person my future stepdaughter trusts so much in her work. The phrase future stepdaughter made Olivia's chest tighten again. She hadn't processed her mother's engagement enough to hear it repeated in casual conversation. But Daniel wasn't trying to claim her. He was just trying to connect. Maybe too quickly. Maybe too earnestly. She wasn't sure. Olivia took a slow breath, forced herself to focus, and nodded. All right, she said softly. If both of you are comfortable, we'll continue. The session began. She kept her movements professional, her tone steady, but inside. Her thoughts were a tangled mess of emotions she didn't want to analyze in real time. Being this close to Logan again was difficult. His calm presence, the way he always breathed deeper around her. The subtle way he watched her as if she brought the room into balance, none of it made her job easier. And Daniel. She could feel how hard he was trying. He kept thanking her, asking if he needed to adjust something. Trying not to be awkward while clearly being very aware of the situation. At one point, Logan glanced at Daniel, then at her. And she felt something shift, like he understood a silent part of her she hadn't spoken aloud. It made her pulse race more than she wanted to admit. The session ended, but the tension didn't. When they stood, Logan lingered by the suite door. He didn't rush, didn't make any dramatic move. He simply looked at her with gentle seriousness. Olivia, he said softly, may I talk to you? Alone, only if you're okay with that. Before she could answer, Daniel stepped out of the room slowly. He paused, looking at Olivia with something unreadable, maybe regret. Maybe worry, maybe something else he didn't want to name. I'll step outside, Daniel said, giving a small nod. Olivia, thank you. Really? She gave a polite nod back, watching him walk down the hallway. His shoulders looked heavier than when he arrived. And she couldn't tell if it was the session or the sudden awkward connection between their lives. When he disappeared around the corner, Olivia turned back to Logan. He still stood there. Hands in his pockets, his eyes filled with something warm and steady. Something that made her feel as if he had been waiting to speak to her long before today. She tried to hold herself still, but her heart beat too fast. The room felt too quiet now, too intimate for a workplace hallway. And Logan's gentle gaze made her feel exposed in a way that wasn't unprofessional, but very human. Very real. She didn't know what he was going to say. She only knew that whatever it was, it would change something inside her. And that terrified her almost as much as it intrigued her. That was the moment Olivia realized the day wasn't just unusual. It was the beginning of something she had never planned for, standing between the man who made her feel unexpectedly understood and the man who was about to marry her mother. The hallway outside the suite was quiet, but it felt heavy with every unspoken word. Olivia's hands brushed against the wall for balance as she tried to steady herself, heart hammering faster than she expected. Logan stayed a few feet away, his presence calm but intense. Like he had been carrying something unsaid for a long time and finally decided the moment had come. Olivia, he said softly, his voice low but clear. I didn't want to speak in front of him. Not today, but I've been meaning to. I've wanted to talk to you outside the sessions, just the two of us. Her chest tightened, and she looked down, trying to avoid the heat in her cheeks. She wanted to believe she could stay professional, that her calm mask could hold. But Logan's eyes didn't see the mask. They went straight to the part of her she hid, even from herself. Logan, you know who he is to me, she whispered, her voice barely audible. I can't mix things like that. He shook his head slightly, stepping just a fraction closer. I know. That's why I waited. I didn't want to say anything when it could have hurt anyone. But seeing you today, seeing him here with you, I realized I don't want to miss the chance to tell you how I feel. I don't want to hide it anymore." Olivia swallowed, her throat tight. She had always admired Logan from afar, his quiet patience, his warmth, the way he made even simple moments feel meaningful. But this was different. His words, his presence, made her pulse race. Made her question everything she thought she knew about keeping her feelings contained. Before she could answer, Daniel appeared at the other end of the hallway. His steps were slow, almost hesitant, as if he knew he was intruding but couldn't turn back. He paused a few feet away, his eyes flicking between them. Is something wrong?" he asked, his voice quiet but carrying that familiar edge of concern. Olivia froze, caught between the two men, the one who stirred her heart without trying, and the one connected to her family, someone she felt obliged to respect but didn't know how to read. "Daniel," she said softly, It's not what you think. This is complicated. For everyone." He nodded slowly, the tension in his shoulders easing just a little. "I get that," he admitted. "I didn't come here to complicate things. I wanted to connect. Maybe I pushed too much? I'm sorry if I did." Olivia's chest tightened again, but there was something in his honesty that softened her. Made her realize he wasn't a villain. He was just a man trying to navigate a new family. Someone trying to be present in a life that had already been complicated for too long. She wanted to reassure him, but she also knew she had to be careful. "Daniel, you're trying, and I see that. I respect it. But I can't let anyone get hurt here." He gave a small, understanding nod and stepped back. "I'll give you space," he said quietly. "Take care of yourself, Olivia." And then he walked away down the hallway. Leaving her alone with Logan, the moment Daniel disappeared, Olivia felt a mix of relief and guilt. She had been polite, careful, professional, but her heart had already picked up speed, leaning toward Logan in a way she couldn't deny. Logan stepped closer, his hands relaxed at his sides, his blue eyes calm and steady, but full of unspoken feeling. "You don't have to decide anything right now," he said gently. "I just wanted you to know. I see you. Not the calm, professional Olivia everyone else sees, but you, the person behind it. And I want the chance to know you better." Olivia looked down, her mind spinning. This was unexpected. She had spent months keeping herself grounded, focusing on work, keeping her feelings tucked away. But Logan's words, his quiet sincerity, pierced through all of her careful planning. "I don't know what to say," she whispered. "This is a lot." He smiled softly, a small, reassuring curve of his lips that made her chest flutter. "You don't have to say anything yet. Just let me in, little by little. Coffee, a walk, a chat. No pressure. Just two people trying to understand each other." Her heart pounded at the idea. For so long she had been the observer, the one keeping emotions in check, making sure everyone else's life ran smoother while hers stayed quiet and contained. And now, here was someone offering to enter her world carefully. Without force, without expectations, someone who actually wanted to know her, not just the parts she showed to the world. I'd like that," she said softly, her voice trembling with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Logan's face brightened, not with exaggeration, but with that calm, genuine warmth that made her feel seen. "Then let's start small," he said, "one step at a time. We'll figure out the rest as we go." Olivia nodded, her mind already racing with possibilities, fears, and hope. But even as she agreed, a part of her couldn't ignore the reality: her mother's engagement. Daniel's presence, the complicated web of relationships she was now entangled in. It wasn't simple. Nothing about this was simple. But maybe that was the point. Maybe life wasn't meant to be simple. Maybe the moments that made her heart race, that left her breathless, were the moments worth exploring. Even if they were messy, even if they were complicated. She looked at Logan and felt a strange, exhilarating mix of fear and anticipation. It was a new feeling, one she hadn't allowed herself in years. It was thrilling, terrifying, and full of possibility. "Are you sure?" Logan asked softly, sensing the hesitation lingering in her eyes. "I'm sure," she replied, more firmly than she expected. I want to try carefully, slowly, but I want to see where this goes. He nodded, understanding more than she realized. Then we'll take it slow, he said. No rush. No pressure, just the chance to know each other. And in that moment, Olivia felt a small, cautious hope. Like a fragile flame, she wasn't ready to guard fully, but also didn't want to let go. The world felt bigger, more open, full of possibilities she had never considered before. But deep inside, she also knew this was only the beginning. Logan was not her life yet, and Daniel still lingered in the background, a reminder of family, duty, and expectation. The tension between these realities made her chest ache. But it also made her feel alive in a way she hadn't felt for a long time. Walking beside Logan down the quiet hallway, she realized something. This was the first time she had chosen something for herself in a long while. Not for her mother, not for her work, not for appearances, but for her own heart. And it was terrifying and exhilarating all at once. She glanced up at him, and he gave her a small, reassuring smile. She returned it, a quiet acknowledgement of what they both felt, but didn't need to speak aloud yet. There was no rush, no pressure, no expectation. Just the simple beginning of something new, fragile, and full of emotion. For Olivia, it was more than just a coffee or a conversation. It was the start of reclaiming her own life, her own choices, and her own happiness. And though the path ahead was uncertain, with Daniel's presence and her mother's engagement looming like shadows she couldn't ignore, she felt a spark she hadn't felt in years, a spark that promised hope, connection, and the possibility of love that was quiet, genuine, and steady. As they walked further, side by side but careful, Olivia felt a strange mixture of relief, excitement, and nervous anticipation. She didn't know where this would lead. She didn't know how her mother would react. She didn't know if Logan's presence would change everything about her life in ways she couldn't predict. But for the first time in a long time, she felt she had a choice. And even if that choice was just to take one small step, it was hers to make. Her heart, usually so guarded, felt lighter. Her mind, usually so focused on control, felt more open to chance. And her spirit, usually so cautious, felt the flutter of possibilities she had almost forgotten existed. Logan didn't speak much more on the walk. He didn't need to. The silence was comfortable, filled with the energy of unspoken understanding, shared tension, and quiet connection. Every glance, every step, every small gesture said more than words ever could. Olivia realized how much she had missed this feeling seen, feeling understood, feeling a spark that wasn't overwhelming, but gentle and real. When they reached the small cafe near the spa, Logan stopped. "Here?" he asked softly. She nodded, taking a deep breath. The air outside was crisp, the city alive with lights and movement. But for a moment, it felt like time had slowed just for them. She wasn't thinking about Daniel, about her mother, about the expectations that weighed on her shoulders. She was thinking about Logan, about the feeling he stirred in her, quiet but undeniable, about the possibility of something new. "Shall we?" Logan asked, gesturing toward a small table tucked in the corner. Olivia smiled faintly, the nerves still fluttering but mingled with anticipation. "Yes," she said. And with that, they sat down, two people cautiously stepping into something fragile, uncertain, and deeply human. And while the path ahead was full of unknowns, one thing was clear. Olivia's heart had found a spark, one she was willing to explore carefully, honestly and fully, for the first time in years. And though the shadows of family obligation and past expectations still lingered, she felt ready, just ready enough to take that first step towards something that could change her life forever.